So a little bit of algebraic stuff in this chapter. Some scary words, right? You know, we've got, today's lesson is over arithmetic growth and this recursive formula, kind of some scary words. Big deal, right? You know, we'll just see what they are. But arithmetic growth is pretty simple. It's known as like linear growth as well. And it's when something like a sequence goes up or down by the same amount every time. We call that the common difference. We need to learn that that is called D this chapter. The common difference will be D. Let's dive in. You see they got us a sequence of numbers here, 2, 4, 6, 8. They want to know, yo, man, is that arithmetic? To be arithmetic, it has to either go up or down by the same amount. So if you'd kind of do this for me, I don't care if you use a calculator or not, but you see, like, I'm just going to kind of get us started on this. If I listed the terms, this is like the first term, the second term, the third term, the fourth term, you know, like there's just like 4 numbers in there. The second term is 4, and the first term is 2. Subtract them from each other. What's 4 minus 2? 2. Put this little loop right here and put it 2. Then we got to do that again between the third term and the second term. I just subtract them. 6 minus 4. Did we get 2 again? 6 minus 4? 2. If we do that again, 8 minus 6, did we get 2 again? Do you see how in this sequence it went up by 2, up by 2, up by 2? That is arithmetic, right? It's going either up or down by the same amount. So they ask us, will it be arithmetic? So we will say yes. And they want to know what the common difference is. So we'll write D equals, and didn't it go up by 2 every time? D was 2. That common difference was 2. So let's try this again. What would be the difference between these two terms? If you did 10 minus 5, what would be that difference? 5. Cool. I love it. What if I did the difference here? 20 minus 10. Do I get 5 again? What do you get? 10. And then if you do it here, you get 20. And if you do it here, you get like 40. This is not an arithmetic sequence. Some of you are like, but Miss Funsfield, it's being multiplied by 2 every time. We'll get to that when we get to geometric sequences. I want to know if this is arithmetic. It has to go up or down by the same amount every time. Here it went up by 5, then it went up by 10, then it went up by 20, then it went up by 40. So that is a no. That is not arithmetic, right? Arithmetic is fancy for like arithmetic, you know, like add or subtract. You know? So then here's the weird one. If I do negative 7 minus the first guy, which is a negative 3, like minus a minus becomes a plus. How do you feel about this going, down by 4? And then if I do that again, negative 11 minus a minus 7, it went down by 4. And then if I do that again, it went down by 4. Is that arithmetic? Yes or no? Yes. The common difference is negative 4, meaning they weren't actually going up by 4 every time. They were going down by 4. That's all we're looking for today. Is it the same amount every time? But what they do is they complicate it with some fancy schmancy math symbols right here. So here's a good reason why they use the letter A. They don't have to, but they're using the letter A for arithmetic, right? They're trying to say this is an arithmetic sequence, and they're just kind of saying, hey, man, this A sub 1, the way you really say that out loud is the first term. Could you tell me, out of these 4 terms, which one was the first one? Say 7. 7 is the first term. Are you cool with that? This right here says what's the second term in that sequence. It's just fancy math talk. How do you feel about that being 2? Are you okay with that? And then the third term is negative 3. And the fourth term is negative 8. And uh-oh, they say find the fifth term. They didn't list it for me, so we have to figure it out ourselves. So we've got to find that common difference. You subtract, usually like your second term minus your first term. What do you think, 5 or negative 5? Negative 5. So we got to go down by 5 on that dude. So, sorry, I'm going to grab a calculator. That fourth term is negative 8. I just need to subtract 5 from it. And did you get negative 13 back on that? Cool. Negative 13. If I wanted to find the sixth term, I'd have to go down by 5 again. If I wanted to find the seventh term, I'd have to go down by 5 again. Everything's going to go down by 5. So the weird part is we can keep going forward. What this recursive formula has coming up in it is this thing called the previous term. Right? Previous means the one before, not after. Right? The previous term. So check this out. They've got us a common difference of 3. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. They got us a common difference of 3 in this question number 9. But you see this right here says the 5th term is 13. They ask us to find the 4th term. Isn't that the one before the 5th term? Are you with me on that? So if they were going up by 3, up by 3, up by 3, to find the previous term, don't you have to do the reverse, and go down by 3? Does that make sense to you? If this guy was 13 and I went down by 3, you see that would have to turn out to be 10, right? Because they wanted the previous term. So on this guy, the common difference is -4. It means in this sequence they were going down by 4, down by 4, down by 4, down by 4. They say the 23rd term is 200. They want the 22nd. Isn't that the previous term, right? So if they were going down by 4, down by 4, down by 4, what would you have to do to go backwards? Not down by 4, but up by 4. So you would take 200 and add 4 to it, and do you see how you would get 204? That's kind of weird. But here's, so let me see what I got next here. Yep. Here's some weird stuff. I'm just going to ask you this. If I had that, you cool, that says the 7th term. Who's the previous term? Say the 6th term. Who's the previous term? How would you write it? A sub 6, right? Are you with me on that? Sorry, that's not a 6. What if I had the 9th term? Who's the previous term to that? The 8th term? A sub 8. What if you had the 100th? God dang, I can't write today. I'm sorry. What if you had the 100th term? Who's the previous term to that? 99th term. So here's the weird thing. They're going to give you the nth term. And the one right before that, would you believe that when we did this, we took 7 minus 1 to figure out 6. We took 9 minus 1 to figure 8. We took 100 minus 1 to figure 99. The term before the nth term is the a sub n minus 1. Weird. Because we don't know what n is. It's just a letter. But to go 1 before that, you have to subtract. So you'll see that in this recursive formula right here. You'll see, here's your first term, bro. And then here's how to find any term after that. You need the previous term. That's that pink nugget right there. See that a sub n minus 1? That's the previous term. And then they just want you to add 5. Here's the generic formula. Can you see the common difference is that orange nugget right there. Here's our common difference. That is complicated until we dive into it and just experiment. So help me out. Can you tell me who the first term is? He's free. They're telling you straight there. Who's the first term in this sequence? 8. You guys okay with that? 8. 8's the first term. How did I know that? They have to tell you that. It's rules. It's like you got to start and tell me what the first term is. Then this formula here says, dude, take the previous term and add 5 to it. So if you want to find the second term, can you tell me what the previous term is? Who's the previous term? 8. And then you're supposed to add 5 to it. So 8 plus 5, 13. That's the second term. To find the third term, we need to take the previous term, which is 13, and add 5 to it. So if I hit plus 5, it would do that for me. Did you see I'll get 18 back in that situation? To find the fourth term, I need to take the previous term, which was 18, and add 5 to it. That would be 23. And then if I want to find the fifth term, I got to take the previous term and add 5 to it and be 28. I think that's very basic. This is the hard part. It's like, I don't know what that says, man. You know, what does this say? It says, bro, tell me who the first term was. Just tell me where to get. Oh, I'm sorry. I hit that all over the place. Sorry about that. Tell me who the first term was. And then all I got to do to find the next term is add 5. Right? I got to add 5, add 5, add 5. So let's try that real quick here on number 12. Who's the first term in this new sequence right here? Who's the first term? 222. And then what are they doing to it? This. They are subtracting 2 from it. Are you with me on that? They're going to subtract 2 from it. So you got to know we started at 222, and then you'll subtract 2 and get 220. And then you subtract 2 again. So the reason why I showed you that maybe like one of these calculators is kind of nice, because if I hit the first term, which is 222, and subtract 2 from it, I'll obviously get that. But then what I could do is just hit minus 2 again, because that ANS is calculator talk for the previous term. So if I hit enter again, it's going to take the previous answer minus 2. Then I could hit enter again. It's going to take the previous answer minus 2. Then I could hit enter again, and it kind of does all the work for me. So that was 218, 216, 214. And then they just kind of keep going. But that previous answer, your phone won't do that, you know, unless you have a calculator app, you know, like a graphing calculator app. But the iPhone calculator doesn't do the previous term, I don't think. Am I wrong about that? Maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe your calculator does. If it does, cool, you know. I don't know. We'll find out later. All right, 3 problems left. Using this formula from question 7, find that. What does that even say? Find what? It does say a sub 8, but what does it mean? Not quite the first one, right? That would be a sub 1. What does a sub 8 mean? Not the first term, but the 8th term. Find the 8th term. We have the first term, the 2nd term, the 3rd term, the 4th term, the 5th term. I want the 8th term. So wouldn't we have to like just kind of keep going, right, to do this? So here's what I'll do. I'll just write them all out. I have the 5th term. To find the 6th term, what was the rule on this one? The rule was to just subtract 2. So it was 214. Take away 2. Isn't that 212? Then I need to find the 7th term. Subtract 2 from it. And get 210, and then I can find the 8th term. I can't talk it right, I'm sorry. The 8th term to be 208. Did you see how I did that? I just had to keep finding all the other terms. To find the 8th term, we had to know the 7th term. To find the 7th term, I had to have the 6th term. To have the 6th term, I had to have the 5th term. And what you'll discover is that's why recursive formulas suck. They plain old suck. Because if I wanted you to find the 100th term, you got to know the 99th term first. And if you want to know the 99th term, you got to know the 98th term. That sucks, man. So there's got to be a faster way, and we'll do that next week, right? But the recursive formula is, okay, it's really not that basic, but to find a specific dude, you always have to know the previous term. The last thing homework will ask you to do today is to like write the recursive formula. So I'll help you out. You got to start with the first term. They have given me this sequence. Let's please not miss that. Who is the first term in that sequence? 4. Love it. And then how to type this in. The nth term, it's just like this. You always have to type a sub n minus 1. When you type it on your computer, you got to go down to the little subscript thing. So you'll type the letter A, and then you'll have to use the math symbols to go down for a subscript, and then you'll type n minus 1 down there, right? You know, I'll help you type it in if you can't type it in, right? But you got to do a sub n minus 1, and in this red box is the only thing you got to figure out, what the common difference was. How do you find that common difference? Subtract the 2nd term from the 1st term. What's 9 minus 4, baby? 5. Do you see this is also a 5? This is also a 5. So I'm going to have to put some sort of 5 right here. Plus 5 or minus 5? Plus. So that was weird, right? But almost all of it was free. You had to put the first term right here. You had to put the previous term, which fancy way to write that is a sub n minus 1. All you have to figure out is the common difference and put it right there. So let's do the last one of these. What is the first term in this sequence number 15? 0, right? Then we got to say the a sub n minus 1. Let's look at the common difference. That's pretty basic. What's the common difference on that? It is 1, and it is going up by 1, so we will put plus 1. Just keeping it kind of weird. The hardest part is the symbols that they use, right? So let me know if I can help you. Have a good one.